All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Emily Punt, Director of Athletics Annual Giving at Augustana, here for our next Augie Insider. I have a lot of exciting things that happened over the weekend to talk about. Nice sweep of USF by men's and women's basketball, and Coach Krauth celebrating his 1,000th win as a head coach, and more success with some other teams we'll talk about. So we'll pass it off to Josh to get us started.
All right. Thanks, Emily. Yeah, what a weekend. Just so here's a quick rundown. It started on Thursday. Wrestling had a dominant performance at home against Minnesota State Moorhead. Track and field actually separated north and south. One went to Brookings, one went to Washburn down in Kansas. School records, national qualifiers from both. Swimming and diving finished fifth in the NSIC, such a young program. Coach Maiko did a great job again this year. And then Taylor Beagle, our senior, maybe coming back next year, but she is the swimmer of the year in the NSIC for the second straight year. She's also the swimmer of the meet with her points. She bested her times of last year. So terrific weekend for them. Men's and women's tennis also picked up wins. And then, of course, our sweep of Sioux Falls was a highlight for both men's and women's basketball. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, last time he played Sioux Falls, he brought home a key. So we'll start with head football coach Jerry Olszewski, because we're only a week and a half from signing day, Coach. 23 signees this year. How would you sum up this recruiting class?
I'm really happy with it, and never heard a coach go after signing day and say that it was terrible. We really are excited about it, though. We addressed the needs that we had because we got a good team coming back. And we have some COVID seniors that get that additional year along with the juniors. So summing it up, I think it was great balance. We had 12 offensive players, our defensive players, 11 offensive players. We addressed the depth needs at every position that we had, really focused on really defensive back and wide receiver for the most part, was where we needed some depth and competition to grow and put some numbers into those. But then also into our defensive line, and we thought that we got some real gems in the process. It was an interesting recruiting year, Josh, as you go through this, not only how kids were recruited, but then who was recruited. Because just like we only had so many roster spots available, other programs had the same issue. Well, at least some of them had the same issue. So there's some really good players out there available, and really excited about the young men that have chosen Augustana for the future.
Yeah, and your staff did a great job, because navigating the COVID for recruiting is so hard, because it's all about personal connections, and that became a lot harder for all of us since March. What if there was as we look to spring? I know I get asked all the time. I know you do too. We've talked a lot about what competition can look like. Where do we stand right now? As we were chatting before, it is minus 20 degrees, so it's hard to fathom being outside for football, but eventually I'm sure the snow is going to melt.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. No doubt about it. Both things, the temperature rising and the snow being gone. But we're excited about the spring and what we do. We got to get ourselves right first, so we're going to take every practice opportunity that we can. We're going to try to start as early as March 15th. Right now, the guys are in lifting and running mode. So, we're doing that 4 days a week right now. We'll get in the classroom on March 8th and start getting back into teaching program and install days and everything. And by the 15th, we'd like to start a practice regiment. And then hopefully, after we get back from break, being prepared to play some outside competition, not only internally playing ourselves, but maybe have a couple scrimmages against some external competition somewhere around mid to late April. Those couple weeks there of 17th and 24th of April is what we're shooting for. And we should be able to button that up here in the next couple weeks and get some formality with that, and then send it out to all of our fans and parents and everything else once we get that dialed in.
Yeah, I know that football coaches are always thinking they're great. They're great basketball coaches. Basketball coaches always think they're great football coaches. We've got the three of you here today. I know you watched the games this weekend with interest as well. Pretty big weekend for our basketball programs.
Yeah, it's huge. I'm a big fan. I wanted to play basketball as a kid. And I did up through high school, and just wasn't good enough to play it in college. And the good Lord had a different plan for me, but so proud of our two programs and how they continue to represent our institution and just the kids in our program, the young people, the men and the women. I get to see them down by the weight room. If our alumni and fans could get to know them on a personal basis, it's young people that you'd want to be around. So it's great when they see success, and we've had our share. Both programs have done such a great job, and an awesome weekend. I'll say that. It's easy to hang my head around and raise my hands up, and it's always special with that sweep.
Yeah, and so my mom was 4'11", so my college basketball days were probably written before well, she is still 4'11", but my college basketball days were numbered from the start. For a coach if you reflect on Coach Krauth, 1,000 wins, and Coach Krauth, pretend he's not here, 1,000 wins, 32 years, it's staggering, isn't it?
It's, and I've said this 1,000 times, if not more, walking the hallways of this institution is a humbling thing as a head coach because of the greatness that walks them every day. Those who have gone before us and the ones that are here right now. I mean, you got Hall of Famers up and down the hallway, and Coach of the Year, if you don't win it, it's like, well, what did you do? But success has just become something we're so accustomed to, and Dave's no exception to that. I can't fathom, in my sport, I can't even fathom 1,000 wins. I mean, that's just, but I got to walk in with Coach this morning, and the thing that I think is incredibly special, not just the wins and the impact he's had with the people, just like Coach Billeter has, but he got to coach both his daughters and walk through that experience with them, and that is so unique and special. And I don't know many people in the country that can speak on that, but that little piece that we did as an institution, watching that, it's special. I mean, that's the best way you can say it. Look, coaching is all about memories, and these two guys got their share. But congrats, Coach, and 1,000. I can count that high. Once you go beyond that, I run out of numbers. But really proud of you, and I'm proud to call you friend and colleague.
Thanks, OJ.
Yeah, well, it's actually now 1,001. So thank goodness it's 1,001. Coach Olszewski, the reigning NSIC Coach of the Year in football. Thank you very much. We'll let you off the hook, and we'll turn our attention now to basketball.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a blessed day.
Very good. Coach Billeter, we'll start with the men today. On the road at USF, gutty win on Friday. Really more of a, I thought, methodical win than on Saturday. How would you assess the weekend?
Yeah, kind of just, appreciate the words of Coach OJ. Obviously, we feel the same about him. It is a special place. And, I've congratulated Dave in the hallway, but I was telling him, my family and I were sitting there, and I said, now fathom this, 1,000 wins means he won 20 games a year for 50 years. Think about that. And Dave's not 111 years old. All right. So, when you start thinking about that, that's really quite an accomplishment. And I echo everything OJ said and even more. And having been in this profession now for 35 plus years, I know how every win is cherished and hard to come upon. So congrats as well. And one thing about Coach OJ, I can't speak like him. I'm not even anywhere clear as eloquent as him, but boy, I just second everything he said. So it was a must weekend for us, Josh, and we got a must weekend coming up, and at least we control our own destiny. And you can say should have done, would have done, could have done, wish we would have. One thing, we didn't get any help this last 2 weekends. We've gotten no help from anybody. So at least we control our own destiny. And very physical games. Both teams played hard. Both teams, I felt, were very focused. I think everyone knew what was at hand and the task at hand and what the outcome needed to be. So, really proud of USF is a very physical. They do a great job of what our term all week was muck it up. They just muck it up. It's all defense and rebounding, no easy baskets. And like I said, they don't beat themselves, very well coached, very good basketball program, very good team. And we just, we had to match. We were saying, well, forget that. We don't need to match it. We just need to be us and, every bit as physical and even more. And, we won the rebounding battle overall. Our kids played very hard and physical, as did theirs, and thought it was just two teams that really went at it. Maybe not the most beautiful basketball, but entertaining. And really proud of how our guys played and put that one to bed, because we have a team just like them coming into the Pentagon next weekend, and they're playing for a divisional championship. We're playing to go to the NSIC tournament. So, we got plenty on our plate this week, and thankful to be in this situation, but we got to play well.
Yeah, and to be in a position where you control your own destiny, right? Two games left, and trying to play for the tournament.
Especially that, the good thing is, I know this probably won't make sense to a lot of people, but to have the opportunity to, control, like you said, control your own destiny is one thing, but our help from other people, whenever you have to do that, never works. So I'm really glad that we don't have, win two and have to wait on something else or whatever. It really truly is up to us, and way rather have it that way, because we haven't gotten a ton of help or luck, it seems like, over the last few years. So this will be good for us.
Yeah, very good. We'll come back to you in a second, Coach. I have some questions in the chat. Appreciate people chiming in. Coach Krauth, I want to talk about the games first, and then we'll talk about 1,000. Big weekend for you. All of a sudden, you leapfrog into first place in the division, and you played awfully well on back-to-back nights, which isn't easy.
Right, and it isn't something that we've done. As you look back at our weekends over the course of this season. So, it kind of blurred on me a little bit this weekend when I even thought back, and then I had a couple, reporters or whatever were, okay, when you got down by this and all right, then it would sort of come back a little, but where sometimes you can kind of recall a lot of the stages of the games, but the first night, of course, I think we led wire to wire. I don't even know for sure, but we just did a solid job. Nothing spectacular, but maybe didn't take away as many of the things they like to do as we had hoped to. But it just seemed like we got plays or baskets at times when we needed them, and got through that night, and of course, as it looked like we were going to, my mind was already flashing ahead to the next day, and say, oh boy, we've been in this boat before where we've done all right on Friday, and then we got to come back and play. But it was a good first night of those two.
Yeah, I think for both of you, I think that's the with this format this year, you win that Friday night game, such an emotional game, and then to turn around and back it up is huge. Coach, 1,000, coaches have mentioned it. It's pretty staggering to think about. What does it mean to you to reach that milestone?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that is kind of a better number than other ones. When you've got zeros at the end, and there's actually 3 of them. But honestly, I will daydream from time to time, and it's almost because I've experienced. I coached boys in high school and girls in high school, and the college women. I got a chance to coach my daughters. It's there's a lot of good memories, and that's probably what it forced you to do, to think back on a lot of those people that have been part of it.
Sure, it's a lot of games to think through. Let's get to some. Let's talk quick for you. So for the NSIC tournament, you're sitting in first place. It's pretty jammed up there at the top.
Oh, yeah.
But your approach this weekend, you're going to Wayne State. They're 5-7 in the division. What's your focus this week?
Well, oftentimes you'll get that kind of a question about a weekend or a team you're going to play. Wayne's a very tough place to play, or it certainly has been for our teams over the years, and they've got some good kids. They're almost being, let's say, under 500, a victim of our division being so loaded. I mean, it's not like they were just stubbing their toe and being bad, and they probably had a couple of those, but it's just so jammed up with teams that are good, and so they're still in that situation where they're fighting for their playoff lives, and I haven't done the math. I don't know, we dropped to, what that could potentially do to us. I haven't even tried to figure that out, but it'll be tough. And we'll try to guess a little bit. I guessed completely wrong on USF this week, and that's the first time I think that in memory, the first time that I can remember, just they're pretty much a man team. They don't really play zone, and they pride themselves, and that's kind of part of their identity. And we got zone the whole weekend, and So I thought it was going to be for a little while, and then it was going to be a little. And so with Wayne, we got to guess a little bit more, but they do go undersized, as does USF at times too, and that has kind of become a trend on the women's side to go with some small guard or guards, and so we'll just have to put our defensive helmets on and decide we're going to guard again and do a good job on that end, and that'll probably be our focus. And yet I always remind them I'd like to use our post play, even though we're not big. I still like to go inside out and do that stuff. So that'll be kind of a theme for our offense.
Question in the chat for both of you about seniors coming back next year. And I'm always sensitive to this question because you want to be fair to the seniors. It's a big decision whether or not to come back, but at least I guess answer the question as you know it today, and what your conversations are like with your seniors.
Well, both of my seniors have nursing jobs for already set up for next year. So I don't think there's any plans on their part to return next year. I mean, I would have liked to have had them consider it a little bit, but that's a hard step, and they've both been here 5 years, and so I mean, I didn't think that they would. Just a quick story. I don't want to go dominate the conversation here too much, but at Southwest, and he's got a huge senior class now, and so they had senior night, and they introduced them all, their little bio and that type of thing, and then at the end he said, and then of course all 7 of these could return again next year, and so whether it's a senior night or any and all of those kind of things, it's been different.
Coach Billeter?
Yeah. One thing I was going to say, and I'll address that, but one thing about Dave, when he's talking about when Julie was playing, I told him this earlier today. I always kind of wished if the Jansons had wanted to have a 6th son, Schillings had a couple more boys. I always wish Dave and Sandy had a couple boys
Right.
with the girls, because I didn't have the honor of watching Julie, but I got to watch Katie compete in both basketball and softball, and she was about as tough as they come, and I really enjoyed watching her play, and I've heard Julie's stories. So that's on them. But Dave, I sure would have loved to have had an opportunity to have a couple of those sharpshooting, Krauth jumping, tacking the boards, young sons, if you'd ever done that. So, because his girls are fabulous. The way I look at this is it's their decision. I like what Dave said. My situation's a little bit different. A lot of my seniors are in grad school right now, and they're getting that master's. And I'm really just so thankful to Augustana. We've done such a great job in the last few years of implementing the MBA program, master's in accounting. Obviously, we have a very good master's degree in athletic administration. So for my guys to allow them to come back an extra year and to come out of here with a master's degree is really what it's all about, in my opinion. And for us to be able to afford the opportunity to have that happen, I'm all in. In the end, it's their decision. And just like Dave said, if they have jobs awaiting, or remember Chase Marshall a few years back, you got Duke or Harvard, med school, and, you've got things like that awaiting you, then they've got to make what's best for them. But as of right now, the invitation is definitely there, and we'll just kind of see how it all plays out and what they end up wanting to do with their lives. Having said that, I think Adam Dykman is almost like 10 years younger than me. So he's getting up there in age a little bit. Don't know how many years he's going to want to keep playing, but we sure hope, I would love to have him back. That's not an issue.
Yeah, no. And as an institution, we started in the spring, we determined that we are supportive of anybody who wants to come back. So that's our fall sports, winter sports, last year's spring sports. So I'm glad that
we're appreciative of that and know that,
yeah.
That's the right decision. And we're very fortunate to be able to do that.
Yeah. And there's a health question too. Again, I'm sensitive to how much we can say about health, but Coach Krauth, Bechet didn't play on Saturday. Do you expect her back this weekend?
I was going to call her last night, and so I haven't talked to her since Saturday night when she was at the game, but not feeling too well. And just to see, I know Alex Nissen, one of my assistants, she stayed home this morning, had a little bit of the stomach bug or whatever. And I told her when she texted or whatever, I said, yeah, I have a little bit. And I was yesterday too. And I was almost thinking, did Bechet bring something to the bench or our area, which I don't believe that's what happened at all. But of course, we're hoping, she has a quick recovery. She had a real nice game on Friday night, and
Yes,
then
she
to
did.
lose her for Saturday, I kind of thought, oh boy, but it did work out.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows too, when we do have flu-like symptoms, first thing we do is go through COVID testing. So and working with our medical team and making sure we're clear. So yeah, we have had a few bouts of flu float through the department a little bit. So knock on wood, we keep all that away. Let's talk briefly, coaches. Let's plan on both being in there next week. The NSIC tournament at the Sanford Pentagon starts next Thursday. Right now it's a no fan policy. I like to think that we can get to a place where maybe parents can come. Stay tuned as we work through that. But it's tournament time, and to think of where we started on November 27th and the testing protocols we had to do to get to this point. I'm proud of both of our teams and our wrestling team that's testing 3 times a week. Our only games that we've lost, knock on wood, have been due to others' situations and others' protocols, and I think our team should be commended for it. Again, I understand it could change tomorrow, but as we sit today, really proud of your teams.
Yeah, I am too, and I don't talk about it with them much because there is that slippery slope where we've had a few cases through the fall and things like that, and I just don't ever want to feel like we're almost laying blame if somebody spoils something because they certainly, none of them are trying to do any of that, but we've been fortunate, and I'm real happy with that.
Yeah, team effort. I agree. And our administration, our trainers, our players, our entire it takes it's an entire family, and it takes us all working together to pull off what we've pulled off so far. So right now, going into our week, we have to play or we're kind of cooked. We're out for track. I'm worried about flu bugs. We've had 2. Tyler missed a game and Bennett missed this weekend from the flu. We're worried about their team having COVID, our team having COVID. I mean, it has been one of the most unique seasons in the history of college basketball. And it's not just us. Everyone's going through the exact same anxiety, trust me. And I think we're all probably blood pressure is about 25/15 higher than it's ever been in our lives before. But still, the cooperation has really made that part that much better.
Yep. So I'm going to leave you with this. Hold on one second. I got to reach over. And so at 1 o'clock, we do our victory bell every Monday at 1 o'clock. And today we also have a special treat. I'm not sure if I'm going to share or not, but yeah, got that at Hy-Vee today. So you don't get to have it all, Coach Krauth.
All right. Well, that's good.
We'll share.
That's good.
We'll share with everybody. So best of luck to both of you. And I'll turn it back over to Emily.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Reminder, A Club and season ticket holders can grab their tickets for the last weekend of home basketball out at the Pentagon on Wednesday morning, and then tickets on sale to the public on Thursday morning. Can catch the women's games online at goaugie.com/live. Hope you have a great week. Stay warm, and we'll see you this weekend. Thank you.